Hey, how's it going, Mike and everybody at 2K? My name is Matt. I just recently got into contact with Mike over Twitter. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say like got into contact like we had a full conversation, but I put out one of my ideas for the future 2K games, and he replied back, and we sent a one or two or three messages back and forth. Basically, he was telling me that he always, has an open mind with when we bring our thoughts and opinions forward. So, instead of putting some ideas that I had on the back burner and maybe, possibly forgetting about them, I wanted to go ahead and spitball a couple ideas. And yes, I am playing MLB. I'm doing this during this game. Uh, my brother has my copy of 2K, unfortunately. That's a rough situation, man. I love that game so much, and I play it so often. It has consumed a huge chunk of my life outside of work. I'll start off. I became a fan of basketball 2 years ago through 2K, through the 2K14 game. It was my first basketball game um, in a good many years. Um, so I guess I want to go ahead and get started, so I'm not wasting too much of your time. I really hope that you guys will take the time to hear some of my ideas. Some may not be so great. Uh, a couple of them I'm really hoping that you guys will like. Um, I want to start out by saying last year, after 2K15, man, I talked so much with people about the idea of like I would watch a couple of games with Kevin Love, go Cavs. Well, I would watch Kevin Love, and he would catch the ball out on the 3-point line. He does this a lot, and the guy that plays for the Chicago Bulls, Mirotic, when he catches the ball on the 3-point line, he pump fakes first, a lot of times. And he does that to try to get somebody to go up for the block. And then he leans in for some contact and tries to get a possible 4-point play or three free throw shots. Now some people may say that's bad for basketball. I think it's just another way to make your defender pay for over exaggerating. I think it's a good thing. Some of the other foul issues, with certain contact that's made, I don't think that those should be called as fouls as often, especially in the playoffs. But I don't want to get too far off topic here. Um, but I thought it was absolutely great when you guys brought in the ability to get fouled on jump shots, which it happened a little bit in 2K15, and I got so excited when it did. I'm a big guy. I'm really big on replays, man. If people that have watched my streams, they can tell you like anytime something cool happens, whether it be a shot, a dunk, a block, an alley oop, an ankle breaker, anything, man, I'm constantly going into the replay menu, which that brings me to my second idea. Well, my first idea, the first one I was just talking about something previous. I hope the ability to get fouled on jump shots stays in the game strictly because it gives you the opportunity for a 4-point play. Without the ability to get fouled on a jump shot, you're down 4 points with a couple of seconds. That's your only chance, really. If you don't have enough time to get a foul after a shot, that's your only chance to do something. So if you got an opponent that's, you got him on his toes, you could hit him with that pump fake in the corner and get him off his feet and take a chance for that 4-point play. It's unlikely, but it's great to always have the possibility because that's what keeps people, that's what keeps them focused and into the game, and it keeps them, just the idea that you still have a chance. That's what it's all about for me, and hopefully for others. So yeah, that and the replay menu. I think it would be cool if there was some form or some way for us to do a little bit more with the replay. Um, I'm going to take something right here. I just want to show you. Hopefully you guys are able to, watch this. I'm not asking you to use it. I know it's from a different franchise, but I just want to show
Jose
you,
Batista will stand in. He flew out.
with this game, You can you can make replays. You know, you can do whatever you want. You can follow your runners. You can take it into slow motion. You can do whatever you want, basically. I've made a couple of really cool ones out of this. You know, you can stick with the ball. You know, you can get on top of the ball like this. If I can do it without the, yeah, like that. You know, if somebody makes a catch, you can go in for the slow motion and then zoom in, see the stitching on the ball, the fan reactions. I mean, there's just a lot of really good things you can do with that. You know, and then bam, you got it saved. Okay, so that's that. Another really good thing that that I would like to see, and this, I got this because I read an article where Stephen Curry is really changing the 2K series for the future because he's making the impossible possible. Things that you wouldn't think were possible in an NBA game, he's making it look like child's play, basically. Um, One thing to help with that, in my opinion, is a clutch rating. Players that have a clutch rating, because you have the clutch badges, like you have the badges that help your players be clutch, and I love that because it gives each person individuality. It makes them different from the other person. The badges, with the expressive badges, with the stats, everything about it, it just makes that person the individual. It's what makes LeBron James LeBron James. It's what makes Stephen Curry Stephen Curry. You know, and then you, bam, you slap down the signature size up packages, which was beautifully done. When I first seen the very first footage of 2K16, the dribbling, I'd begged, I had messaged Ronnie and LD so much, and asked if there was just some way to play like Steph Curry, to get the ball and come up across the half court and get people on their heels, you know, um, breaking players down with your dribbles and shooting straight out of the dribble, you know, like Stephen Curry does. And you guys hit that nail on the head. You got it absolutely perfect. I won't say perfect because there's always room for improvement with anything, but you guys did a tremendous job with that, and I'm so grateful that you did because I've had such an amazing experience this year with the game just because of small things like that you may not think that we appreciate. And I absolutely love it, and I'm getting off track. But the clutch rating, I think, is another thing that's going to give players individuality. You know, Stephen Curry obviously is going to have a pretty high clutch rating, tremendously high, actually. Same thing with players like, oh man, I don't know if I can name. I was going to say LeBron, but he's, if you look up his stats in the clutch, they're not super great. But you see what I'm saying. Like I said, I'm going to try to spitball this, so I don't want to spend too much time trying to think up names and stuff like that because it's not important. Um, Another thing, you know, I messaged Mike on Twitter about the ability to create plays. I mean, now you imagine what that could do for your everyday 2K player. I mean, you've already made it to where you can do Pro-Am and you get on there with your friends and it's like you have your own basketball team. I mean, you draw up your own plays, you do all these cool things. But what I think would be great is to have the ability to create your own plays from the get-go, whether it be in my team, um, at the park, at the Pro-Am, all that good stuff, man. You imagine what that would do to be able to legit make plays and call them, and your players getting direction on what they need to do for that play, or your players getting a little note in the corner that says, hey, we're running this play, it's coming from the point guard. I think that would be tremendous, and I think a lot of people would love that. I hope that's an idea that you guys can think about, as well as the others that I'm throwing out. Another big thing, last year when NBA Live, I guess you would call it beta, came out, and I'm not going to say anything bad about that company. I think they've made tremendous improvement from the year before, but I'm always a 2K player. Since the first time, I will not go to anything different, just because what 2K has done for me as far as making me a fan of the game and the joy that it has given me to be able to play it and make friends from it and all that. Um, but when I played that game, what really caught my attention was some of the things that were happening during halftime. Like for instance, if you're playing a game on 2K and you come out and LeBron James, go Cavs, LeBron James comes out and he's struggling in the first half, or let's say Steph Curry comes out and sets an NBA record for first half points. Like I want to see like emphasis on that, and I want to see I want to see Ernie and Shaq and Kenny and hopefully Charles someday talking about it and saying, LeBron struggling in the first half, 5 turnovers, Stephen Curry coming out on fire, breaking an all-time NBA record, how many ever three-pointers, uh, the Cavs um, shooting 42% from the three-point line, uh, 40 from the field, like just things like that that really pull you in and make you feel like an intricate part of what's going on in the game. Um, I think that is one thing that I've had a little bit of trouble with as the year goes on is uh, my connection. Like I'll lose connection with the game. Things like that are going to help keep people into it. It's gonna help pull you in. It's the story to it. Like games like The Last of Us, just tremendous story. They did such great things with that game, but it's the story that really intrigues us and makes us feel like we're part of what's going on. And I think really putting the emphasis into your halftime shows and your post-game shows, I think stuff like that is what's going to separate these games in the future from other games, because it's those things that give it that authenticity. It's just the realism with 2K. That's what it's all about. You say 2K to somebody, what do they think? They think realistic, the realism of the game, and the player likeness, um, the individualistic um, ness of each player. Everything is just so spot on with this, and I just think building on that as the years progress is what's going to keep this franchise in the right direction. And I'm so sorry that I've taken up so much time, but I cannot express like what this game has meant to me. Um, when I was in high school, I was a football player. I bled football, but these past 2.5 years, man, I have been all about some basketball. I've already gotten the playoff schedule written down at work. Like, I'm all for it, man. I love the game, and I have you guys to thank for that. I thank you so much for the hard work you put in. I know we as community members can be a bit harsh sometimes, but I hope that you all know that it's sincere. We don't mean to, because I've had my moments of saying things just like anybody else. We just have such a great passion for what you've done with these video games, and you've made them bigger than what they are. You've made it. You got players like Hassan talking about it during interviews. I mean, it's such a big part of this culture, and I would guarantee that it has drawn so many fans to the NBA over the past years. And I just want to see the same thing. I have such a great love for this, and anything that I can do to help. I'm not. I didn't major in video game design. I'm not a professional analytic person. I am a student of the game. I'm a student of the 2K franchise. Like I just every little nick and cranny, man. I absolutely love it, and I just think it's great. And I just want to end with saying thank you guys, and I hope that you guys will take these ideas into consideration and maybe share them or see what other people think, if anybody out there is thinking the same thing. I do want to end on one more thing, and I'll shut up. This is another big thing. In MLB, every game you play, it keeps up with your stats. If you look right here on the right side, it's got your batting average through every game that you've played. And I think that's something else if you could put into 2K, is to where no matter what kind of simulated game